to know in 6 minutes starts now.
Chuck Malamut is next.
The Eagles are grounded. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump disinviting the Philadelphia Eagles to the White House for a Super Bowl championship party today says it's about players not standing for the national anthem.
The Eagles were only going to send a small group of players to the White House after a number of players said they weren't going to attend the ceremony in their honor. The president with a preemptive bird strike. In a statement, President Trump saying the team is unable to attend the ceremony because they don't agree with his belief that NFL players should proudly stand for the national anthem, hand on heart, in honor of the great men and women of our military and the people of our country.
Fox's Todd Pyro, the president, tweeting this morning, "We will proudly be playing the national anthem and other wonderful music celebrating our country today at 3 p.m. The president's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, is accused of witness tampering. Fox's Rachel Sutherland's live in D.C.
Chris Manafort could go to jail as he awaits trial on money laundering and tax evasion charges. The special counsel's office maintains he contacted witnesses by phone and through encrypted messages in an effort to influence their testimony. The contacts were reportedly uncovered by investigators on Manafort's iCloud account. Manafort has been on house arrest since his indictment last October. He says he's innocent. His former business partner, Rick Gates, has pleaded guilty and is cooperating with special counsel Robert Mueller. Chris?
Rachel, thanks. A week from today, President Trump is supposed to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
Before the president takes off for Singapore, the Senate's top Democrats sent him a letter. They want the White House to clue Congress in on its plans before the negotiations begin. They also want to make clear that any deal that does not require the complete denuclearization of North Korea is a bad deal.
Fox's Kristen Fisher. A 15-year-old girl learning how to drive hit and killed two men in a Philadelphia shopping center parking lot last night. Her SUV lunged forward, pulling into a parking spot. Fox News, fair and balanced.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high-commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Just months into his first term, Governor Murphy and his new cabinet are preparing for a government shutdown, with legislative Democrats unwilling to go along with almost $2 billion in new and expanded taxes. A budget deal seems less likely by the end of the month. The Eagles are banned from the White House amid a dispute over the national anthem. President Trump disinvited the team after some refused to attend due to Trump's ongoing disagreement with players who refused to stand for the anthem. Efforts move forward to expunge the criminal records of residents convicted of possessing a small amount of pot as soon as recreational marijuana becomes legal. The ACLU telling members of the Assembly Judiciary Committee during a hearing that a single marijuana arrest and conviction can have devastating consequences.
You can face up to 6 months in jail. You can face fines and fees of more than $1,500. You can be evicted from public housing.
It is likely the legislature will pass a recreational marijuana bill in the coming weeks. Police will increase their weekend presence at the South Jersey Mall, where a large brawl resulted in the arrest of 7 teenagers. Hamilton Township Police met with mall officials on Monday. I'm Eric Scott. This is the Town Square News Network.
Becoming partly sunny across New Jersey today. Most of the day looks great. Breezy and mild, highs in the mid-70s. Just watch out for a quick round of showers and thunderstorms that'll be likely from this afternoon into this evening. Showers will exit the coast tonight. It'll be partly cloudy and comfortable, lows in the upper 50s. Partly to mostly cloudy tomorrow, a little bit cooler, highs upper 60s. Congrats on the new home. Live whole with complete home insurance coverage from Franklin Mutual Insurance. Find an agent near you at fmiweb.com. Franklin Mutual Insurance, for the way you live. I'm meteorologist Dan Zero.
From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame.
I want to congratulate my friend, Harry Hurley.
You're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPGG Talk Radio 104.1.
Hey, thanks very much. Chuck Malamut is here. This is his weekly program, which has been presented for 27 consecutive years now on Tuesday mornings in the 8 o'clock hour. Presented, sponsored by Chuck Malamut, a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. The information, views, and opinions expressed on this broadcast are those of Chuck Malamut and do not necessarily reflect those of Morgan Stanley or its affiliates. They are current as of the date of this broadcast and are subject to change without notice. Neither the information provided nor any opinion expressed herein constitutes a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. This presentation is for informational purposes only. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, member SIPC. And Chuck, I want to begin. It was a privilege yesterday to honor the fact that yesterday was your brother Bill's birthday.
Harry, thank you for that shout-out, certainly. I mean, when we chatted early in the morning, I just wanted to make certain that Brother Bill was recognized. It's hard to believe it's been 2 years, basically.
Yeah.
Or close to 2 years, and he would have been 61. Yeah, it's really sad, but you know, he left quite a legacy. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you look at what's being accomplished at Atlantic Coast, or I'm sorry, Green Tree. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Loss of words.
That was close to 30 years,
yeah,
so that's easy to do.
So my hat's off to his son Jim, who's just done a pretty remarkable job stepping in Bill's absence.
He's really honored his dad too, which I think is
it's nice.
It's
nice.
beautiful.
Yeah,
yeah, he's done it just right. So Chuck, a lot going on. Market update.
So it seems as if volatility is back. We took a little bit of a hiatus for a couple weeks, and now with a lot of the geopolitical uncertainty, not only here domestically but also in the internationally as well. 1% moves in the Dow, S&P, Nasdaq on a daily basis. It's pretty much not unheard of. I mean, if you take a look at like last week in particular, we got off just a really bad start on Monday, with all the discussions, what was happening with Italy. The trade risks are, also resurfaced. I'm surprised that nothing has really transpired this morning yet with respect to the Eagles not getting disinvited to go to the White House. But these, unfortunately, you get these shifts in the trade policy, and it would be nice if we had some stability. But I think it's something we all have to be, we have to get used to with respect to the way the country is being managed at this point in time. But, nevertheless, with everything that happened last week, the S&P was still up 0.5%. Energy and technology are the best performing sectors. If I asked you a year ago, do you think energy would be one of the best performing sectors in the S&P this year?
Not based on what we were saying then.
Chances are you probably would say no. But if you look at last week alone, energy was up 2.5%, and year to date, it is the third best performing sector in the S&P, up 6.6%. So, I mean, everybody pretty much had a handle on technology. They were expecting, I think, a little bit more out of financials. With the fact that rates are increasing, spreads are widening, and margins are getting better. But putting that aside for a second, the S&P still was up 0.5%. Think about everything that's happened year to date through the end of May, Harry. I think the S&P was up 2%. The Barclays Ag, which is basically the measurement for the 10-year bond, was down about 1.5%. So if you had a balanced account through May, you probably didn't make much money. If you had a heavily weighted Nasdaq portfolio, chances might be a little bit different. There was a lot of discussion about international markets, particularly emerging markets, and emerging markets have had a pretty tough go of it year to date as well. So, one side of the ledger says, okay, this is the end of the bull market. The other side says, listen, this is sort of the pause that refreshes. You do have to remember that volatility was pretty much consistent throughout many, many years, actually the last 20 years, with the exception of what happened in 2017. The average number of days, I believe, and please don't quote me on this, was 70 per year, 70 trading days, or 1 out of every 4 trading days. You would get a move of 1% plus or minus.
Wow.
But in 2017, we had a total of 8 days. So all of us, get sort of spoiled, and we think about, well, why is 2018 so much different than 2017? I think what we really have to understand is 2017 was significantly different than every other year that we've had, and what we're living through right now in 2018 is fairly similar to what's happened 16, 15, and otherwise.
Let's see if you agree with this. No matter what type of scenario plays out, it supports the concept that you talk about a lot on your program, and that is not trying to time the market, but spending time in the market. It really doesn't matter, because who in the world other than Pocket Kreskin or the amazing Kreskin himself could have picked those 7 or 8 days? So it was really important that you spent time in the market, or you would have easily missed those 7 to 8 days.
I think it was actually, if I remember correctly, it was over the last decade, there were 5 days. And 5 trading days that represented a total gain of 50% of the total gains. Let me back up. Of the total gains that we had over the last decade, 5 trading days attributed to 52% of those gains.
It's incredible.
The other 49% were the other remaining 2,500. I don't know the exact number of days, but the remaining days left in a decade. So if you are astute enough to be able to figure it out, then good for you. Most people, most institutions, most hedge funds are not. So you need to stay in the game, so to speak. And it's, again, spending time in the market versus trying to time the market.
Exactly. Was there anything to be gleaned from the fact that in the past week the price of a gallon of gasoline came down about 10 cents? At least that's what I saw at my corner store, because I think that is something that's affecting a lot of people. I was talking to a few family members of mine, went and filled up with a quarter of a tank, $60 to fill up the tank. $60.
Yeah,
look at the money that takes out of the economy.
So we were pushing $3 throughout, nationally.
Yeah, we were $2.99.9, and now it's a full 10 cents less.
Now, as of Friday, that is now $2.96.
But that's the national.
National.
Yeah.
And then if you compare that to where we were back in December, it was $2.47. And a year ago, it was actually $2.41. So you had a 55-cent move.
So you're talking about $70 billion taken out of the economy.
And, it's pretty amazing that the economy, in light of all this, the fact, and I know that you and Kirk kind of stole my thunder I know you shared my notes with Kirk earlier.
We're very smart.
We're going to talk about the May jobs report, where you kind of beat that to a pulp already. But the fact of the matter is that we are.
Well, let's say it again during your program. We had the greatest favorable number reported at 3.8% since May of 1969.
Well, they actually round that. I don't know if you ever noticed, but they round that 3.8, 3.6. It's actually, if you look at it, it's actually 3.75.
Good.
So they rounded up to 3.
Even better.
3.8. So the data was strong across the board. We created 223,000 new jobs. The unemployment rate dropped to 3.75. Again, as you mentioned, the lowest level since we've had December 1969. And I think what we really need to pay attention to was wage growth. The average hourly earnings increased at about 2.7% year over year. And the market took that in stride. I mean, actually, the market did very, very well. You think about it, we had a great day Friday, a very good day yesterday. Today looks to be okay at the open. I mean, we're not going to look, certainly hour to hour, day to day, but you get in these situations where you're rewarded for spending time in the market versus trying to, again, time the market.
Here's another important stat, because Chuck and I talk about this. Kirk and I talk about it over the years on his program. The U6, so the actual work participation rate, May of 2017, 8.4%. May of 2018, 7.6%. Trending very nice.
It's trending, and I think that what you and Kirk covered in the last hour, if you want to get a job, it's pretty easy right now. You might not get the job that the ultimate job that you're looking for.
I spent a weekend of seeing help wanted,
and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of obviously service industry related jobs. I'd be real curious to understand how the hiring has gone, or how with respect to Hard Rock, Ocean, and what the impact is to the other existing casinos in Atlantic City, because I think there's probably, again, a shortage of available help, to fill necessary positions, in the particularly in the summer season, Atlantic City and these outlying areas as well.
I think it's a good point, because people are leaving for the first time in many years for promotion, for other opportunities, maybe get a pay increase, and that's going to open up positions at other properties. They all have a certain number of openings for seasonal positions on top of that to begin with. So really, it is definitely, I'm sure in some cases, they might even be having a little bit of a problem.
I think they are,
especially before school is out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that was even a challenge, Chuck, when you and I were executives, the very beginning of the summer before school would be out. We come right back after this important early in the morning timeout. Trade tensions, consumer spending, growth outside of America, overall financial security, what's the concern for most workers, stock market wealth, reallocation of your 401k, Social Security, and this is very important, and I love it when Chuck brings this up, because I think it's a really big deal for a lot of people, and people that think that it's going to be enough by itself. Guess again. Actual versus expected mortgage rates. Are they on the rise? Who pays income taxes? A lot to cover with Chuck Malamut. Kirk Conover of his mic we're on right now. This is nirvana for Kirk. This is everything he loves. Say it, Kirk. I love it.
Love it.
He loves it.
At Ocean First Bank, our first thought is you. We put you first in all we do. Community banking for a century. We treat you like your family. Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
When your dream is building a new home, we offer mortgage options designed with your convenience in mind, like combining your construction and permanent loan into just one closing, saving you time for the really fun stuff, like planning that housewarming party.
Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
I'm Seth Grossman, Republican candidate for Congress, and I approve this message. There's an important primary election today, June 5th. Please read your sample ballot and look for my name, Seth Grossman. I'm in the column that says MAGA, M-A-G-A, Make America Great Again Republicans. Today, Tuesday, please vote for me, Seth Grossman. I'm the Trump Republican who could beat a strong Democrat like Jeff Van Drew in November. Thanks for your support.
Paid for by Grossman for Congress Committee.
Are you putting your retirement savings in a 401k, IRA, or investment account? Then I have one word of advice. Stop. Many experts warn of a stock market crash any day now. And if it's anything like the last two crashes, you could lose 50% or more of your hard-earned savings in the Wall Street casino. Can you afford to lose half of your retirement savings again? Hey, you don't have to lose a penny, because there's a better, safer way to save for retirement. And you can learn all about it in a free report. This is the report Wall Street and big banks desperately hope you never see. Why? Because this method continues to grow your money even when the market tumbles. It lets you take back control of your money and finances, and it gives you penalty-free access to your savings. Plus, it beats the pants off any 401k or IRA. These are uncertain times, so get the information you need today to guarantee your retirement security. To get this free report, go to bankonyourself.com right now. That's bankonyourself.com. Bankonyourself.com.
Your next chances to win up to $5,000 are coming up at 12:30 and 5:30 this afternoon.
We just won $5,000.
Thank you. Win Harry Hurley's money, powered by Franklin Bank, with WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
19 minutes past the hour, early in the morning with Chuck Malamut. This is all about your financial matters with Chuck Malamut. And again, for all of your financial planning needs, turn to the Malamut team. Chuck is the managing director of his team at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office. 609-383-2010, 609-383-2010. One sit down and you'll see Chuck's perfected concept of total asset management coupled with the all-important asset allocation. Did we thoroughly discuss trade tensions? Is that
no? Actually, we
Okay.
need to
Good.
chat about that.
Go.
So, as you know, last week the Trump administration unexpectedly announced the U.S. is going to move forward with the investment restrictions and tariffs on Chinese goods, and it's going to and stated it would impose tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from the EU, Canada, and Mexico. So, you know, the trade restrictions continue to remain somewhat of an economic and financial market wild card out there because, Harry, as you know, the market reacts or overreacts as these statements come, and is it more bark than bite? You know, the president floats out an idea, and then, you know, it's up to his, you know, staff, so to speak, to go ahead and either validate what he just said, or, you know, become somewhat counterproductive and say, well, Jesus, you know, he really didn't mean it this way. Here's what's going to happen. So I think that's something that we have to continue to think about when, you know, we put money to work, you know, with our clients, because the fact of the matter is that there's obviously a lot of geopolitical risks out there right now. I mean, and there's just a lot of conversation. So, you know, the key to all this is to be able to invest based on the fundamentals. You need to separate, you know, all the noise that's out there.
Are markets gnashing its teeth over Singapore and Trump, Kim Jong-un? Nobody's really talking about it, but there's also early talks about a Trump-Putin summit.
Yeah, because it's off.
It's
because it's off again, on again, and
it's on now.
And now it's on for the 12th. I was listening to you. I was listening to
in fairness, only the second time. It was sort of on, and then it was off, and then it's on, and it's staying on.
You're doing your show on the 12th.
On the 12th.
Okay, so
12 noon to 3 p.m.
So it's actually going to be the early morning on the 13th. When you're at Singapore, so you will be able to report what happened on the 12th in Singapore.
Least in the first half day.
Correct.
We have about a half. You've been places where. What is Australia? How far?
I think it's 14 hours.
And I think it's either 12 or 13 in Singapore. So yes, what's cool about this is for us when we go on, they will have already met as of 9 p.m. June 11th our time. So we're going to be ahead.
Well, no, you're actually behind.
Well, yes, we're behind.
You're behind.
That's what I mean. We're behind, which makes it better because we're actually going to be able to talk about it.
Right.
Say it was on the same, if it was Eastern Standard Time and they were doing it somewhere in America or something, and we did it, they would be meeting that morning. We wouldn't hear too much by 12 noon. Here, there's going to be a full...
You'll have a full three-quarters of a day of news to report. So
it's going to be very interesting.
So you don't have to worry about your show prep. You just have to show up and everything's going to be good. They're going to take care of everything for you, right?
It's going to be good.
All right. So yeah, Kirk and I are call. Can we take calls?
We're gonna, we definitely can take calls. We're going to go to Chuck, line 1, Chuck. Line 2 holding is Kirk from Absecon, from Atlantic City sometimes. Let's go to Chuck in Galloway Township, New Jersey.
Harry, we wouldn't do that to you, but
punk me out.
But anyway, I think the point I was trying to make before we got kind of sidetracked there is the fact that you can't ignore all the political developments, but the fact is that we've had continuing good global economic growth. Now, what is happening here in the U.S. is better right now than what's happening outside the U.S., but I think you have to keep in mind when you put money to work is the fact that we are in sync. I mean, we have obviously a very, very strong economy here, and we're seeing it also outside of the boundaries of the U.S. So,
are we actually leading the way?
We are now. Now,
yes.
if you can sort of put aside all the noise, what is happening, and invest based on fundamentals, invest based on the fact that year-over-year growth is there. To the tune of 8% year-over-year earnings increased by actually 20% year over year. Now, did we put the high water mark in? That was in first quarter 2018. That's anybody's guess. But the fact is the economy is working. And what is happening, the perma-bears, so to speak, the ones that are terribly bearish all the time, are trying to convince you why you shouldn't have your money invested. But if you think about it, if you listen to them from March 9th, 2009, you'd have a pretty low balance. I mean, if you invested the money the way you were supposed to, you should be relatively pleased with the performance that you've put in over basically the last decade in equities.
Very interesting. Chuck, what about consumer spending?
So we've had strong consumer spending now, which is one of the three legs of the stools we always kind of talk about. Real spending in April showed in advance. The March numbers revised higher. Consumer spending could get to 3.5% in Q2 this year, which would then push GDP, up to that 3% plus level. I mean,
let me ask you about 3% plus, because the Atlanta gang, they're very exuberant, very over the top. They had called a much higher GDP, and then it didn't happen. Now they say 4.7% GDP. Do they see things differently?
I think they might see things. I mean, I think if I don't know if they're looking, just at with their coverage, which is the Southeast, or if they're looking, throughout the entire country. But certainly, there are pockets of the country that are doing much better than other parts of the country. There are parts in the state of New Jersey where, counties are significantly doing better than other counties. I mean, case in point, we're starting to see finally, some positive movement here locally.
Yeah, I feel it.
But it's been a long time, and where we're kind of in the malaise. We're just now getting out of it. But meantime,
we were at the bottom in the country. We were the highest unemployment rate in America. We were the highest home foreclosure rate in America. That was stunning for an area that had been nearly recession-proof for 40 years. This was really, we had a big hole to climb out of.
And there's a lot to be said for why. And I think that obviously the closing of the casinos, that's pretty obvious. But the fact that it would take so long to get the real estate, to get these houses through the inventory process, where you had you couldn't get to the short sale. You had the zombie loans. You had people living in houses that weren't paying anything, and just the way the laws are written in Jersey, it would take so much longer to get that accomplished versus to move the inventory through like in Nevada or Florida, for instance. So I think in the beginning of the Great Recession, we did not suffer as much as other parts of the country, but then as a result of the process taking as long as it does take, we took it in the neck, so to speak, on the back end.
Before the bottom of the hour break, I know you mentioned that America's leading the way, which is sort of a way of saying growth outside the United States. How's it going? You did touch a little bit on growth outside of the United States. Closing comment on that point. Then when we come back from the bottom of the hour break, this is such an important part of Chuck's program when we come back. Overall financial security and the concern that it is for many workers. And I know many people listening right now that think about this, your financial security. What can you say, closing comment, about growth outside of our country?
So what is happening, the reports that we're seeing is that the growth outside the U.S. is decelerating somewhat. The index of leading economic indicators is gaining strength in the U.S., but appears to be slowing in most of the rest of the developed world, which kind of rolls over to the emerging markets. And then if you look at performance for the first 5 months, the emerging markets, had a really, really tough go of it compared to other indices.
Brief time out. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Much more. Chuck Malamut, the official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program, and please declare him yours by calling 609-383-2010. Make an appointment to sit down with Chuck or any of his team members at their Morgan Stanley Northfield, New Jersey office, 609-383-2010. Chuck Malamut, Morgan Stanley, 609-383-2010.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons at 3.
All right, a preview of the IG report, a preview of the North Korean summit, more information on just how great the economy is, and we have 5 big primaries on a Tuesday edition and a half-election edition of the Sean Hannity Show.
Sean Hannity, weekdays 3 to 6 on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
The Auto Plaza at English Creek. Roll with Mr. Tire.
This is Harry Hurley, and I'm with the Mayor, Charles Kane, owner and operator of the Auto Plaza at Harbor Township. Mayor, tell your listeners who are looking for a car, why should they choose the Auto Plaza?
Harry, it's our full-service department, selection, and hassle-free financing alternatives that have set us apart for over 17 years. Over the years, we've been the recipient of many sales and service awards, as well as receiving an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. It's been a real honor for us. We are now serving a second generation of sales and service customers. Stop in today. You're going to love our staff and experience what makes us different.
For all of your automobile service, parts, and sales needs, call the Auto Plaza at 609-646-2447. That's 609-646-2447. And visit us on the World Wide Web at myautoplaza.com.
The Auto Plaza at English Creek. Roll with Mr. Tire.
When posting on most job sites, you get candidates.
I'm the sales director.
I'm the sales director you're looking for.
But when you post on Indeed.com, you get the candidates just right for you.
I'm a sales director with an MBA, over 10 years experience, who's also fluent in Japanese.
With Indeed, you can add screener questions for a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates.
Arigato.
Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Welcome to Geico's Motorcycle Meanderings.
Oh man, this is great. I sure saved a lot of money by switching to Geico. I scored some big savings, and now I can use their mobile app 24/7 for all sorts of stuff. Life just makes sense now. What doesn't make sense is if a highway splits, it's a fork in the road, then wouldn't the long straight stretch be a knife in the road? And then wouldn't a cul-de-sac be a spoon in the road? What would a spork be?
Geico Motorcycle. Savings that make sense.
The 3rd annual Gilda's Club South Jersey Dragon Boat Festival is coming to Lake Lenape Mays Landing Saturday, July 14th. The Dragon Boat Festival is a wonderful team-building activity or just a great day spent outdoors on the water with friends. New this year, a beer garden and a clam bake. All proceeds benefit Gilda's Club South Jersey, where individuals and families impacted by cancer receive free support, education, and hope. Get your Dragon Boat team of 20 paddlers together and reserve a boat now. Details at gildasclubsouthjersey.org.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. One of the things I value most in life is time. Time to spend with my daughter, time to spend with family, and the time I put into my company that's reinventing the way women color their hair. The busiest, most successful women I know use Madison Reed, the amazing hair color hack. In under an hour and for less than $25, Madison Reed delivers gorgeous, shiny, multi-dimensional, healthy-looking hair with an ammonia-free formula. You'll look like you just came from a salon, but the reality is you have more me time to do what you love. Things get busy. Let us take care of you and your hair. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code HELLO. That's code HELLO. Try it. Love it. That's the beauty of Madison Reed.
I'm Sam Fiocchi, and I approve this message because over 40 years I've worked hard for South Jersey. In business, as a Cumberland County freeholder, and as a New Jersey Assemblyman, I've always done the right thing. Now, with your vote, I can go to Washington and do the right thing and stand with President Trump because his policies are right for America. On June 5th, vote for me, Sam Fiocchi, for Congress. Ordered and paid for by Fiocchi for Congress.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade. Join me next at 10, then Sean Hannity at 3. Now back to Harry Hurley on WPG Talk Radio, 104.1, South Jersey's talk station.
It is my privilege to present Chuck Malamut each Tuesday morning in the 8 o'clock hour, our 27th year together. Chuck has been our official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program since day one of this program. He is the managing director, leads his team, the Malamut Group at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office for all of your financial planning needs. And when I say all, think about everything that if you start doing it right now, college building, Hopefully then you wouldn't have to rely on expensive type, Navient or whoever it would be with, type of loans that just accrue interest and can choke literally the life out of you and actually make it so that you can't even get a mortgage, because that debt will count against your debt to equity ratio if you plan that from the beginning. Say you find out that you're going to have a child. In fact, my niece, I know what they're going to be doing. They're going to already be right on that, Katie and Matt, and then their child, Chase, will have all these years before college to be able to have money that's been invested and then grows over all those years, as opposed to just being at the mercy of some federal student loan program. Chuck Malamut for all of your financial planning needs, retirement planning, college building, vacation planning. Maybe you have a dream to do some kind of improvement, and if you put so much away for a certain period of time, you can make things happen that you wouldn't be able to do if you didn't sit down with Chuck and plan things out. 609-383-2010. Chuck, we have a very ambitious schedule, and I think this is one of the most important things you could ever talk about on your program, and that is the overall financial security. And how much of a concern, in your estimation, Chuck, is this for most people?
Well, Harry, it's interesting that you just talked about college planning and Jay's grandson, correct?
Yes.
So I'm sure he'll be right on that and start that 529 account. Basically, today, tomorrow, as soon as you get that Social Security number.
At Chuck Malamut's office.
But so ADP report, and this is, Harry, I think this is something. It's basically goes against everything you just talked about with respect to planning. Workers of all ages share the same concern. This is coming from ADP, not having enough savings for unexpected expenses. 61% admit they have less than 6 months of savings set aside, for emergencies, and including 24% that have no money saved for unexpected expenses.
And this is people willing to admit it. The number's even bigger than that.
Yeah. So all that, think about that, all that stress it adds up, and how counterproductive it is, when for the employer. 40% of employees are distracted by, their personal finances at work. And almost half spend 3 or more hours per week dealing with personal money matters. So I'm not sure if those 3 hours are spent during the work week or they're spent on their own, but the fact is that because the savings are not in place, it creates a lot of stress, which ultimately cuts into productivity for for your employer. So it's sort of it's a vicious circle that we need to somehow work our way out of over time. And I'm not quite certain what the solution is, other than the fact that we talked about this all the time. I just think we as a country have done a really poor job in educating all of us, starting at a very, very young age, the importance of money, what the impact of money is within a household, and how important it is to save rather than just go out and just blow the cash, so to speak.
Such important counsel. I couldn't agree with you more, Chuck. And I often think about this personally. I think about it with the next generation that's coming up. If you plan when it is manageable, as opposed to waiting, and all of a sudden it's your child's senior year in high school, for example, it's a really rough time to start. Then you're pretty oh my God, get on, do the FAFSA, and then see what kind of scholarships you can get, and then we'll fill it in backfill it with loans. It's a horror show.
Yeah, I was chatting with someone just the other day, and children, good grades going to college next year, and their thought was, geez, I hope there's enough scholarships out there and loans to get them through school. And this is a pretty well established person that quite frankly I was sort of taken aghast. I thought maybe you should have had yourself in a little better financial situation, but obviously, as what we just identified, there's a lot of people that don't have the savings, a lot of people that really, get stressed over it, and rightfully so. I mean, you can't go through life, Harry, without thinking about it.
Financial planning, as you well know, Chuck, because you're an expert, I think you're the best at it. Estate planning, there's so many people, Chuck, that we know. I have to be honest with you. I could not imagine, and I want to live a long time. I'm hoping and praying that I have a lot more years. I couldn't imagine not having a will. Do you know how many people, Chuck, that we know? And I'm not going to call out names, but I get shocked by it. They don't have a will. They have no estate planning. They have no living directive. It's as though, I understand it, because it is a little bit rough sitting down and actually having a conversation. Mine was with Lloyd Eisen, who you know very, very well, and you have to make decisions about a time and place when you no longer will be here. It is painful. It is a little stressful, and it's unpleasant to be thinking about that and what decisions need to be made. But then look at the flip side. Say something happens like that, either an accident or some sickness, something happens, and then you leave everybody not even knowing who struck John, what's paid, what's not paid, who gets what's going on. I just think there is so much ample opportunity to properly plan in terms of your finances and also in terms of estate planning. Oh, absolutely. I mean, Lloyd, we partner with Lloyd for many years, exceptional at what he does, very thorough, and working through these estates. He knows, and his people on his team obviously know as well, and it is important because it's everyone knows, it's very, very stressful to begin with, and when the affairs are not in order, it just makes it that much more complicated. And when they are, it makes then just the grieving is the only thing you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about all the other stuff. And when I say this is attorneys. Chuck knows an attorney that I knew very, very well, dear friend, and had no will. An attorney. Yeah, I think that we all kind of think about that we don't think about our mortality so much. We think about the fact that, that's an item that we can do another 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now because we're still going to be around to get that accomplished. And it's sort of on your to-do list. And because it is rather complicated and it takes time and takes emotion, we oftentimes say, I'll do it later. There's something else that's more important right now, more pressing. That's very well said. And sometimes you have to go back, and whether it's Lloyd, in our case, Margie and I had to go back because when we did it so long ago, Kristen, who's now 35-ish, and then Lauren, who's almost 32, and I guess my son, who's almost 29, it's totally different now that age than when they were children. So sometimes you have to go back. And there's been changes in the laws too. Yeah, that's true. Which may or may not make sense to have a trust now. I mean, there's a lot to it. It's a full time living to be an estate planner. But plan early, and you can't get hurt when you're smart early. You're going to be okay later. If you wait until later, then you're scrambling, and then you're making decisions you otherwise wouldn't make because you have to make it happen. And so your alternatives are now much shorter. If you were starting out with a one-day-old child as opposed to a child that's 18, it's altogether a different scenario. Chuck, what can you tell your listeners about stock market wealth? So, Harry, it kind of goes part and parcel, which kind of talked about, and that's not having, adequate savings set aside. 10%, the top 10% of the households in our country right now, there's 120 million U.S. households currently own 84% of the stock market wealth. Wow. In this country. So that means the other 16% is owned by the other 90%. So I think that goes part and parcel with what we just talked about is the fact that we need to get better at a young age to be able to clearly understand our paths financially speaking. Here's another one where people, I think, I'm not going to say they get lazy because I'm not going to say that about good people, but you get maybe a little complacent. Is that a polite way of changing the atmosphere? Or you just forget about it. You're with your employer a long time, and your money is invested in a certain portfolio of stocks, and you get your statements, and some people don't even look at them. Some people look at them, and bird dog them incredibly close. What do you say about looking at your 401k from time to time? What needs to be done?
Well, Harry, this is pretty amazing, and I think your listeners might agree with me because maybe they're not paying attention to time as well. 90% of participants in 401k plans, or defined contribution plans as referred to, did not change their asset allocation of the retirement assets in 2017. So only 10% of the population took an action. Now, you need to, if you have in your 401k plan, if you own a target date, retirement fund, it's going to basically sort of unwind itself, and as you get on that path, and you have less in equities on the back end versus when you start, then the target date fund is okay, and you don't need to go out there and make those changes to the portfolio because that's being done for you automatically. However, if you have a static account, with an asset allocation model and certain percentage of stocks, bonds, and cash, you really need to pay attention. Unless, because you think about what happened in 08 and 09, smooth sailing, and all of a sudden you turn around and you're down 30, 40%. So just, again, I know we don't like to talk about estate planning. We don't spend a lot of time with our investments, and we should, and you really need to take a look at what you're doing in your retirement accounts.
If you got a couple minutes of overtime, I think this is so important. Social Security, actual versus expected.
So this is, Harry, this is incredible.
It's so big.
36% of workers that are out there have been surveyed anticipate that their monthly Social Security benefit will be a major source of their income during retirement. However, 67% of retirees surveyed have determined their monthly Social Security benefit is a major source of income during retirement. So that being said, is that what you think is going to happen versus what is actually happening to the retiree today. So, so we've talked about Social Security, and we've talked about the importance of. We've talked about when you collect, how you collect. Will it be available, for the younger generations? You really, it's another exercise that requires some time, to figure out when you take it. If you knew how old you would live to, if you knew your mortality,
it would be fantastic.
But think about this for a second. You take early retirement, or take Social Security early retirement at age 62.
Right, but we're also, Chuck, two men that had fathers that worked their whole lives, paid into Social Security for over 40 years, each of them, and never collected a penny.
So the key is to remember, on average, Social Security increases by roughly 8% a year. I can't sit here and guarantee you that you're going to get an 8% return in your investment portfolios. So if you can manage the process to take your Social Security at, quote, full retirement, think about it, from age 62 to 66, 67, you're growing your benefit by 8% per year.
Let me also point out, and I'm not boned up on this exactly, but I think I'm close. I think the max right now is like $2,800 a month, no matter what you've paid into it over time.
No, it's higher than that.
It is higher than $2,800?
Yes.
All right, but it's not a lot higher than that,
32,
is it?
33.
Right. So let's just say it's somewhere in the 3,000, little over 3,000 range. Anybody that's listening right now, if that's all that you've planned for, you have to be able to say, my mortgage is paid off, I don't have any debt, I've got nothing going on, and that $3,000 is going to make it for me. And incidentally, Chuck, is that taxable?
It could, depending upon whether or not you're working or not.
If you're not working at all, it should not be taxable.
Should not be. But
so if you had say $3,200, and you're in the range of whatever that is, $36,000 or whatever it would be a year, you have to factor in what do you need to enjoy the lifestyle that you want to have in retirement, and it probably isn't Social Security alone, Chuck.
Well, exactly. That's what we just kind of chatted about. You need other sources of income, during retirement. There's no doubt about that. So,
Good stuff. Are mortgage rates on the rise?
They are, Harry. I'll leave this to nephew Jim, but the average rate nationwide on a 30-year fixed rate last week was at 4.66%. It's the highest level we've seen since May of 2011, or basically 7 years ago. So,
and that's because the economy is good.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Finally,
yes.
Who pays income taxes?
Well, I think as you would expect, what his terminology is, the really rich pay income taxes. The top 0.1%, 1 out of every 1,000 taxpayers paid 20% of all federal income tax was collected nationwide.
Staggering.
In the tax year. This is 2016. I don't have 17. I'm guessing it was about the same. So 1 out of every 1,000 taxpayers took the burden and paid 20% of the taxes.
That's why nobody can call out sick anymore. They got a lot of people counting on them.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you,
especially
Chuck.
Live here in New Jersey.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
All right, Harry. Hey, thanks for having me. We'll see you again next week.
Well done. Chuck Malamut for all of your financial planning needs, the official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program. All-star Chuck Malamut and the award-winning Chuck Malamut Barons and all the other lofty top financial consultant standing that he has in national recognition surveys and organizations. Very impressive. 609-383-2010, 609-383-2010. If you ever look it up, he's there. The annual Barron's, that's the Dow Jones Business and Financial Weekly publication, their power list of America's top 1,200 financial advisors. Chuck is basically, I'll just say this show's over now. He's just a every year fixture. Chuck also made the coveted Forbes magazine list of the 2,000 most selected, if you will, to be a member of the Forbes Best Wealth Advisors. And Chuck is doing very well at the state level in these recognition awards. We'll be back. I have breaking news. Dateline Miss America update. Breaking news from the Miss America organization that you probably haven't heard yet. Something is being taken out of the Miss America pageant that has been there from the beginning. And in fact, it was the entire essence of the Miss America pageant at its founding. And I'll tell you all the details when we come back.
Health Update brought to you by the law offices of Richard A. Stoloff, New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
There are many different types of arthritis. Osteoarthritis is one of the most common and often affects people in their hands. Joining us now is Dr. Kevin Lusky, hand surgeon with the Rothman Institute. So what exactly is arthritis in your hands?
Arthritis is a wear and tear of the joint surface, and it's a normal part of the aging process of the joints.
What are some ways to treat it?
We treat it in a variety of ways: splinting, anti-inflammatories, steroid injections, and surgery if all else fails.
What do the injections actually do?
The injections are steroids, and so they help decrease the inflammation. Arthritis is a painful problem, but not a harmful problem. So if we can treat the pain, we've treated the problem.
All right, good information. Thanks so much. Dr. Kevin Lusky of the Rothman Institute. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Brought to you by the law offices of Richard A. Stoloff, StoloffInjuryLaw.com. Attention you expect, results you deserve.
Paul D'Amato.
Harry Hurley.
Paul, I know our listeners want to know what's new with the D'Amato Law Firm.
Things are great, Harry. We are so privileged to represent our clients whose lives have been turned upside down because they were involved in a serious accident. We meet on a regular basis. We copy our clients on all our correspondence so they always know what's going on with their case. We try to treat them like family. We have Alexa here, my daughter. I'm so happy that she's here. We have Steve Van Natten and Casey Gifford. We're a great legal team.
They're the D'Amato Law Firm for all of your personal injury legal needs. Turn to the official lead counsel to the Hurley in the Morning program for more than a quarter of a century. The D'Amato Law Firm in Egg Harbor Township, 609-926-3300. That's 609-926-3300. Tell Paul, Alexa, Sandy, the entire team that Hurley in the Morning sent you.
At Ocean First Bank, our first thought is you. We put you first in all we do. Community banking for a century. We treat you like your family. Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
When your dream is building a new home, we offer mortgage options designed with your convenience in mind, like combining your construction and permanent loan into just one closing, saving you time for the really fun stuff, like planning that housewarming party.
Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Let's face it, you're never going to get as much sleep as you want. That's why you need to make every hour of sleep you do get really count. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch, and I'm going to help you finally get what you really deserve, a great night's sleep with a set of Boll & Branch sheets. Our sheets are handcrafted from pure, fair trade, 100% organic cotton, the softest you'll ever feel, and they get softer over time. They're twice the quality at half the price. Join hundreds of thousands of Americans, including 3 U.S. presidents, who sleep better than ever on Boll & Branch sheets. And make sure to check out our award-winning blankets, towels, and pillows, too. We guarantee you'll sleep better than ever on Boll & Branch sheets. So we let you try them in your home, risk-free for a month. Plus, if you order today, we'll give you $50 off your first set of sheets with promo code SLEEP. That's $50 off at bollandbranch.com with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Save more with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Hey, what are you doing up here on the roof?
I want to tell the world I just met the woman of my dreams. What about you?
I want to tell the world that Liberty Mutual saved me $782.
Liberty did what?
They saved me $782.
Oh, you go first then. $782 really puts finding love into perspective.
Visit us online to get a quote, and you could save $782. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Based on a recent countrywide new customer survey, coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, Equal Housing Insurer.
Protecting data across modern decentralized networks presents challenges that traditional backup solutions can't handle. At best, you'll waste time and money managing multiple solutions. At worst, gaps in coverage will leave your data vulnerable. Barracuda Backup is a single cloud-integrated solution that simplifies the backup process and allows data replication to anywhere on your network, a private cloud, Barracuda's cloud, or to the AWS public cloud. Reclaim your data. Try Barracuda Backup free at barracuda.com/backup.
Did you hear Hirsch Singh listed gambling winnings on his financial disclosure? Can we afford to gamble on a smooth talker for Congress? It was reported Hirsch Singh would self-fund his congressional campaign. The truth is, he may have negative net worth. On Election Day, I'm not going to gamble and vote for a smooth talker who lives with his parents. I'm going to vote for a proven winner, Sam Fiocchi for Congress.
Paid for by committee to elect Sam Fiocchi.
No time for music or any type of intro-outro stuff. I want to just share this with you, and I wish I had a little bit more time to do so. Well, we do have open forum coming up as well, but let me get it in. I predicted this. I had a conversation with somebody that would back me up on this. I'm not going to get into every nuance why I knew that this was going to happen, but suffice it to say I knew it was going to happen. And I understand the decision, but I don't totally agree with the decision. A part of me does agree because the Miss America pageant is a scholarship pageant. It's about intellect. It's not about objectifying. So I really do appreciate that the bathing suit portion of the competition is sort of, let me take the word sort of, it is conflicting with all the other tenets of the organization. And then, of course, when you have the characters that got kicked out and calling women awful names, well, sort of the names that Samantha Bee called Ivanka, that kind of talk, that kind of potty talk. So it's not just guys that say that, right? Because she said it. But the Miss America organization is ending where it all began. It was a swimming suit competition, a bathing suit competition when it first began so long ago in Atlantic City. the bathing suit competition. So anybody that participated, Caitlin Schofel and anybody from the class, if you will, Miss America 2018, the pageant that took place last summer, that will be the last, at least unless it comes back. You never know. Different people may run it someday. Not lost on me, I have to say it. It's all women that are at the top, and they probably hated it. They probably hated being objectified and being in that bikini and being in those high heels and, walking around to be ogled and all that. I get it. Believe me, I get it. I think a lot of people, if you polled America, this will not be a popular decision. But it is a defendable one because it is, after all, a scholarship pageant.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ 97.3 HD3 Millville. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now.
The White House is a no-fly zone for the Eagles. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. A Super Bowl celebration this afternoon's canceled, President Trump says, over the players' lack of respect during the national anthem during games. Most players said they weren't going to show up anyway. At the White House, here's Fox's John Decker.
The president on Twitter writing the Philadelphia Eagles football team was invited to the White House. Unfortunately, only a small number of players decided to come, and we canceled the event. He continued staying